we are fortunate enough to be around the award-winning pitmasters from all over the country, and they're going to show us all the different barbecue styles. Your cooking style is more a Memphis barbecue.
Absolutely. We're more down in that area because from Nashville all through that whole area, it's almost a perfect triangle of about 210 miles.
Okay.
From Murfreesboro to Memphis, from Memphis to Nashville, and from Nashville to Murfreesboro.
And what do you think what exactly is the Memphis style, if you would have to describe it?
Well, what it is not a completely sauced up rib that has a dry rub on it, and it's not as saucy and wet or super sweet or super vinegar. It's kind of the middle of the road.
Okay.
It's considered a dry meat with sauce and or rub added to it.
Is there anything distinct about the process of the smoking or the cooking that is
Well,
different?
absolutely, and everyone has their own process. Whatever works for you and for your friends, your family, and or your customers, don't change a thing. That's perfect.
We love Alabama, and we want to know what the Alabama style of barbecue is.
You know, so often Alabama gets looked over, and I don't like that because Alabama does have a very distinct style. It's pretty cool. We are caught between the Carolinas and Memphis. So Carolinas, you've got the vinegar sauce. In Memphis, you've got the dry rubs and the sweet tangy sauce, you know.
Right.
We like our barbecue right off the pit. We're known for our whole pork shoulders, our barbecue chicken, and then we like for the customer to decide what type sauce they want on their pork. Okay?
That's great.
Also, in North Alabama, where I come from, Big Bob Gibson Barbecue, we are famous for our barbecue white sauce. We do a white barbecue sauce on all of our chickens, and it's something that is caught on and spread. So whole pork shoulder, whole barbecue chicken, you know, the old-fashioned brick pits, that's Alabama barbecue.
So there's, you know, differences between North Carolina and South Carolina. I know up here everybody just calls it Carolina, but when we're down there, there's a big difference. The meat in North Carolina oftentimes is chopped, whether it's whole hog or shoulders, and they would actually chop it till you get sort of a fine textured barbecue to it. That would be what we call chopped barbecue. Now what we're doing, since we're from South Carolina, particularly from Charleston along the seacoast, we cook it till it's very tender and it just sort of pulls apart. And when you do that, instead of it being a fine consistency, it's more pulled. And you've got pieces of bark. You can see the smoke ring.
It's right there. Perfect.
And you've got the exterior bark, which is nice and crunchy. So you tell me what you like better.
The bark really adds.
Yeah. You can actually get better pieces of meat rather than finely chopping it. South Carolina has 3 indigenous sauces.
Okay.
So along the coast and like up in North Carolina on the eastern side is vinegar sauce country.
Okay.
And then in the middle of the state, which was settled by the Germans, like in Columbia and Orangeburg and Holly Hill, South Carolina, it's mustard sauce country.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then in the western part, up in the mountains, and then extending all the way to Oklahoma and Texas is basically tomato-based sauce.
I see. So we were trying to figure out too, because we want to make sure that everyone understands the different styles of barbecue that goes across the United States. What is the difference between your barbecue and the barbecue around the other states?
Well, you know, we always say in St. Louis we're the only place that has a rib named after it.
That's true.
So and where that comes from is that's a butcher's cut. That's not a style of cooking. In St. Louis, we do a lot of more of the high temperature grilling.
Okay.
So what we do is, having learned from down south, we do a lot of the dry rub Memphis style barbecue. But what we do is we finish it with a St. Louis twist. We do the dry rub, we smoke it, and then as we finish it, we'll take a balsamic vinegar brown sugar glaze, and we'll brush that on, and then we take a high torch to it, which caramelizes the sugar. When we came up with that idea, we were using a small brulee torch. But when you do 2,000 slabs, we needed to come up, so that's actually a roofing torch.
Oh, is that right? That's a good technique though, with all of these people you have to feed today.
Well, it works
really fast.
very, very well.
tell us a little bit about the Texas style barbecue?
Well, this is the real difference. It's the type of meat we cook. You know, the Southeast cooks whole hog.
Yes.
They're mostly pork.
Yes.
And so we are noted for the brisket. And they use hickory woods and other kinds of wood. We use predominantly oak and pecan and mesquite. This piece of meat is why barbecue is part of the soul of Texas, because it's a large piece of meat. You yield about 30 pounds of brisket off of each cow.
Wow, that's a lot.
So you start cooking it and you're in your backyard and then people show up. It's such a big piece of meat, you got to share it. So everybody brings side dishes and somebody brings a guitar, and so you sit out back in the backyard and you eat the barbecue. And so barbecue is part of Texas's soul, but it's really a social event. And the good thing about that routine I just told you is, see, like next weekend you go to somebody else's house.
That's right, so you don't have to do all the work all the time.
Mississippi, Alabama, there's so many places that the style is the same.
Yes.
But one of the things that we found is, you know, brisket. It used to be a cheaper cut, but it was always the toughest part on a cow. But now it's more expensive because everybody loves brisket.
Loves it now.
Loves the brisket. And I do a brisket at our restaurant in Yazoo City. I trim all the fat off and I cook it under my butts as they're cooking. So I baste that brisket with the pork fat. And then after a certain amount of time, when I get my color, my smoke ring, I wrap it and leave it on there for another 12 hours. And it's tender as a mother's love.
But you know about barbecue, if you cook it low and slow for 12 to 13 to 14 hours, I don't care what part of the country you're in, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And so the fact that New York has finally caught on, and it's not hot dogs and hamburgers anymore, that we've got Southern barbecue up here, that's a beautiful thing.